Hello, Just community and partners. My name is Miguel Ortiz, right down here in the south of Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm very excited to be guiding you through today's mobility session. And for the next 30 minutes, we're going to be focusing on the upper body. So everything dealing with your neck, shoulder blades, chest, a little bit of the thoracic spine and core, and major muscle groups like our lats. So to make sure we're really efficient with our time and covering all these muscle groups, let's go ahead and get down onto the floor. You're more than welcome to keep your shoes on. I'm going to do that for the majority of this, but to create a little bit of leverage and to not use a lot of different apparatuses and just mainly be able to use the floor as much as possible, it is going to be the easiest from a space utilization standpoint. So first thing we're going to start with doing here, we're going to get on all fours. Now, when we go over this mobility, we kind of want to start from the bottom joint and work our way up. And our lowest joint compared to the upper body is going to be everything in our thoracic spine. So the first thing I want to do right here, let's just loosen up the body nice and smooth with some easy cat-cow. So when you're getting into that rounded position, you're in that cat pose. And then when you're coming back and arcing, you're in that cow pose. Nice and smooth, roll the shoulders down and back. And as we go through this cat-cow nice and easy, I also want you to kind of set a little bit of a tone for the rest of the mobility session. I want you to keep your awareness as you're doing these cat-cows nice and easy with me. Focus your awareness on the muscle groups that we're stretching, any other residual muscle groups that you may be going through here a little bit. I also want you to focus on your breathing, keeping it nice and smooth and trying to get a little bit better, even just 1% better with every stretch. Nice and smooth right here. Let's get maybe about one or two more and realize that we're getting rid of stress, which means we need to attack it head on when we start this. Very nice shot with those cat-cows. Just loosen up that spine a little bit. We can stay in this tall kneeling position. I want you to now bring one arm across and just start to loosen up that rear delt just a little bit more. Bring it back to open the chest and keep following me as we go through this rear delt opener. So as you attack that stress head on, let's say it's some tightness in your chest, maybe in the lats just a little bit. What we want to realize is that we are getting the quality strength work, that we are tight in some of those areas when it comes to our obvious daily movement and what we're doing throughout our workouts. And that this time that we're taking right now is the amount of recovery, just allowing those muscle groups and joints to open on up so that we stay in control. Fun fact here, it's not adhesions or knots in your muscles that prevent movement. It's actually your brain's inability to turn muscles off and on. We're so used to turning them on all the time with exercise that we kind of forget that the off button is just as important. So now that we just got done doing those rear delt stretches, and we kind of got our focus and mental kind of attitude for the rest of the session, focusing very well on our intention. We're going to go back to that all four position, and we're going to attack one of the major muscle groups here first, which is going to be our lats. So now that we've loosened up the spine, got the shoulders a little bit mobile, we're going to go ahead, take your right hand and make believe your head is at a dial or a clock. I want you to take that hand and bring it to about 11 o'clock. Once you bring it to 11, not with a crazy reach, right? Notice that I still keep my center of gravity still the same. Once you get that reach, you're going to now sit the butt back, which is going to give you a very big lat stretch through that side. Hold that for a couple of seconds, nice and easy as you lean into it, and then come on up and let's go ahead and switch sides. Taking that left arm, I want you to reach across to about 1 o'clock and then go ahead and sit that butt back lightly. So now I'm getting that residual stretch on the left side. Let's keep alternating here. I'm going to be facing you guys so you can see kind of what's happening with my arm as I bring it across. I am now sitting the butt back again with my right side, really getting a nice good stretch through that lat. Very nice job. And then come back on up. Let's go ahead and switch to the other side. Nice, good big reach. So that 1, flirting with 2 o'clock a little bit and sitting that butt back, getting that nice, good lat stretch. Great job right here. Now we want to take our time and flow through these movements. If you find that you get into a comfortable position where you're like, man, this stretch feels really good, use that awareness and stay there. Stay right there and just hold that stretch for a couple seconds. Breathe through it. There's nothing wrong with that. Allow the brain to really turn off that muscle group. So to say. Very nice job right here. We're going to get a couple more stretches. I'm also monitoring time right here. I got my phone up and I can see the clock as it's ticking here. So we're making sure that we're spending a specific amount of time on each of these muscle groups. Some of you might get more reps in than another. Maybe some of you are moving a little bit faster than I am. And there's nothing wrong with that. We just want to make sure that we're at least spending an equal amount of time, alternating appropriately. And if your body calls for a little bit of a deeper stretch, or to linger into that stretch a little bit more, or maybe articulating your back or sitting your butt back a little bit better, really kind of emphasizes that stretch more, go ahead and do it. Very nice job. We're on our last one right here because we got about 10 more seconds. I'm getting my last stretch. Very nice job right here. Good stuff with those lats. Nicely done. Let's come on up. So now that we loosen up the lat, we actually want to continue focusing on the shoulder blades. And the next thing that we want to do is I want to now release the top of the neck. So we started with a major muscle group, but now we're going to go above the shoulder joint and kind of concentrate on the neck a little bit. So what I want you to do is I want you to take your right hand, I want you to lock it out completely and have your fingertips kind of best as you can facing toward the ceiling. So we want to just flex at the wrist, roll that shoulder down and back. So from the side, we should look here. Okay, keeping that shoulder down and back. Very slowly with your right hand, again, locked down, tilt that neck very lightly to the left. Nice and smooth, and you should feel a nice, good residual stretch going up that trap and then running down the arm a little bit and then bringing that head back nice and easy. Because we're focusing on the neck and trap a little bit, we really want to take our time with our cervical spine. So don't just be throwing the head to the side and then unwinding as you come back. Nice and easy, lean into it, rolling the shoulder back. Keep those fingertips facing toward the ceiling and then nice and easy, come on back. Great job. Let's get one more on this side. Completing about a minute on each side here. Good job. And then come on back, loosen that arm up. Nice, let's do the left side. So again, lock that arm out, roll that shoulder down and back, keeping your hand at heart center. And nice, good lean to the right. If your left arm is straight, nice job, and then bring it back nice and easy. Lean that neck to the little bit, get that nice, good lat stretch. Trap stretch. Nicely done through the neck and this residually running into the shoulder. If you feel a little bit of a bicep stretch where nice little ting running through the middle of the arm right there, it's not a bad thing. Your AC joint is really kind of opening up. So you might be getting a lot of residual blood flow now to that area that you might not have had before. That's a good thing. It's not bad. You want blood flow everywhere within the body because that's how we get oxygen to it. And that's how we get nutrients to those areas of the body. Helps with recovery beyond just general blood flow and all that. It really helps with the recovery quite tremendously. Very nice job. Let's get one more on this side. Nicely done with that trap. Fantastic. So now that we're done with that neck and trap a little bit, we're now going to do a little bit of activation that kind of warms up the shoulders just a little bit more here. So first thing we're going to be doing, I'm going to face you guys laterally here. We're going to have the arms in front. We're going to be squeezing the hands like we're punching in front of us. And the first thing that we're going to do here is we're going to drop those shoulders down and back. So roll those shoulders down and back. You're now going to retract the shoulders. You're then going to raise and project those shoulders forward. Project those arms forward. Come back down, retract, raise, and then roll forward. So think about the wheel of a train, right? This is what we want to be doing with the shoulders. Nice and smooth right here. I want you to keep going throughout this motion. Nice and easy. And make it very nice and smooth. Retracting. Okay, so retracting down, back, up, and then forward. Nice and easy as we go through this residual motion. If you need to break it down like that continuously for each one, fantastic. Right, as you go through each 4 corners of this movement. But if you can get a nice good flow going, that's what we want the main goal to be, especially while we keep the core tight in this tall kneeling position. Nice job. Let's go ahead and pause. And now let's reverse that position. So now we're bringing it forward, raising the traps up, retracting back, retracting down, and then forward again. Okay, so now we're just staying in this residual motion, going in that opposite direction, really warming up and getting those shoulder blades a little bit more active. Nicely done as we take them through a good range of motion within our posture right here. Remember, it's not just about stretching and lengthening. It's also about control. If we want to have better posture and release the pain in our back and release the pain in the upper body, we have to be able to retrain how we're moving. We can't just stretch it to relieve it. Nice job there. And then to call it a day. We're going to actually need to move a little bit differently so that we can get that proper residual effect from the exercises that we're doing. And that goes for even strength training too. So, and keep in mind, mobility, and I've said this in other on-demand just classes, mobility is strength plus flexibility. So we're now going to get into the chest. We've done the bent over or lightly hinged positions before, and we're going to do this again. So we're actually going to start with the hands down. Now that we got those shoulder blades a little bit more active, and we're going to go through a nice centered rotation to allow the shoulder to roll down and back and to give us a nice good stretch in our chest. So start with the hands nice and wide, and you're going to bend one elbow and bring one shoulder to the floor, and then come on back. Bend one elbow, rotating to bring one shoulder to the floor, and come on back. What you notice that I'm also doing here is I'm kind of looking underneath my bent arm's armpit, so to say. So as I bend my right arm to straighten the left, I'm allowing that shoulder to come down to the floor, allowing the head to come down. My butt is sitting back and up. I'm not trying to get any closer to the feet. And I'm just looking underneath that arm, nice and easy, getting a good residual chest and shoulder stretch through the front of that arm. I'm going to show you what it looks like from the side. We got about another 30 seconds with this stretch, and then we're going to actually stand on up a little bit. So get the arms nice and wide, bend, keep that one arm straight, nice good rotation, getting all the way down, and then come on back. Nice good rotation as they're coming all the way down. And notice that a lot of these stretches, especially for the lats and the chest, when we're using the floor, you're definitely going to be rotating through your spine quite a bit. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, I got a shoulder issue. And interestingly enough, they never target their shoulder blade to stretch out what may be bothering them. If you have any kind of shoulder impingement whatsoever, I can tell you right now, if you attack your shoulder blade, whether or not it's your rhomboids, which is in the middle, in between the shoulder blades, or you're attacking your lats, I'm telling you, one of those three areas, or your traps, which is at the top of the shoulder blade, it's probably going to be a little bit tight and will tremendously change how the shoulder is feeling. All right, very nice job right there. Great stuff with the chest, lats. We did a little bit of trap. We've done some of that residual work. Now we're going to start to reach our hands above, and then we're going to go into these standing positions. I'm going to use this rack as if it's a wall, and I'm going to show you guys how to use it as well. So first thing here, now that we've loosened everything up, we want to get a little bit of a wider stance. And what I want you guys to do here is realize your lat also connects all the way down just into almost about a little bit just above that top end of your lumbar spine, right? So where the lower back and thoracic spine just begin to meet is right where those lats start to kind of insert down the spine and into some of the ribs. So as we do this, I want you bending and reaching one side down and one side up, and then coming back to center. Make sure you have a nice, good wide stance. Really articulate so you're reaching down, bending those fingertips to get close to that same side knee, and then palm facing forward, making sure you're reaching overhead. If you can imagine a piece of glass in front of you, try to really make sure you're not leaning into it or going forward, because then I'd break that plane. So if there's a nice piece of glass in front of me, I got to really work to the side. Make believe there's also a piece of glass behind you. And as you work and open up these obliques a little bit, which can absolutely pull on the shoulder blades, manipulate your posture. Like I said in the beginning, when doing the upper body mobility, we wanted to focus on also loosening up, right, the closest joint from the bottom up, which would have been our thoracic spine. And we're just lightly getting into a little bit of the lumbar as well as we do this upper body mobility flow, but not forgetting the foundation of our upper body is our core. So we might as well utilize that in some of this upper body mobility stretches. And if you can't reach the floor, using something like a yoga block, I do have one over there in the corner, but nonetheless, even if it's a light chair, even if you don't reach for the floor, maybe you just hold a bench and you just reach across. That is perfectly fine, as well as my imaginary bench right here. And I'm just kind of leaning across while I hold on, right? Something so that that side you're leaning toward doesn't feel too tight. Very nice job with that overhead reach. Next thing I want you guys to do before we end up going into the standing positions, I want you to create a nice little diamond with your hand, or you can cross the hands over. Now, this is going to be a tighter position for the chest, but what we want to practice on doing here is raising your hands above the head, nice and easy, trying to get as big of a stretch through your lats as possible, and then coming on down. What you may notice is as you get on up, you may notice your hands may need to separate to get a lot higher, and that's perfectly fine. So I want you to really focus on trying to keep them as close as you can and then get above your head. This would be called getting your head through the window. My arms are creating this window so I can see my head is behind the window, and I really want to fight to get my head through. Come on down and put the other hand over top and then do the same thing. You might find a little bit of a different stretch on one shoulder than the other. This is absolutely going to loosen up these lats and chest as we've gone through stretching out them both. And I just wanted to do this for about a nice, easy minute, just to create some awareness about where our shoulder mobility currently is after about doing 15 plus minutes of work. So now with that being said, we're going to stand on up, and I am going to use this rack and make believe it is a wall. I'm not going to be grabbing onto anything, but what I want to show you, to stretch out your right chest, I want you to face whatever wall, keeping your palm up. And now I'm kind of stepping away from the palm so that my arm is straighter. And you know what? I'm going to use this rack. I think you could see me even better here. So what I want you to end up doing, keeping that thumb facing up, grabbing onto nothing, and slowly, if your right foot is facing the wall, take your left leg to open it up. And I slowly want you to lift that chest up, get a nice good stretch through your chest, and then come on back nice and easy. So again, I can't lean into this because I'm making believe there's a wall here, and I really got to open up and get a nice good stretch. From the opposite side, it would look like this. If you guys were able to see through the wall, I got my hand into the wall, and I'm getting a nice good rotation. Sorry, I just kicked over one of my exercise equipment apparatuses. So nice and smooth, good rotation, open up that chest. Do not let the shoulder round forward. We allowed the shoulder to round forward when we were doing that bent knee lateral position side to side. When we're here, let's go ahead and switch arms. We do not want to do that. Do not round the shoulder. So again, arm against the wall. Make sure that foot facing, one foot facing, one foot ready to open, soft knees. And as I go to lift up, I'm lifting that chest up. Right now, I'm stretching my left side of my chest. I'll show you guys what that looks like on this side. So I'm making believe the wall is here, kind of almost facing you guys. And boom, right here, nice, good chest stretch. So I'm using the legs a little bit to help me get in and out of this rotation, not having to use the legs a lot. I'm just taking a nice, good wide base so that I could use this wall as pressure and allow myself to keep that arm nice and straight and get a great stretch through that chest. Very nice job. Good couple more seconds on this arm. Very nice job. And then after doing this big chest stretch, we're going to get back down to the floor. We're going to go back into a little bit more residual lat work to continue to test out and see where and how the shoulders are moving and feeling. And we're going to do that overhead stretch one more time. Nice job on this left side. Let's go back to the right one more time. Let's go back to that right one more time. I'm going to kind of face up here so you could see me a little bit better. You might even be able to see, oh, there's the angle. Boom. So open on up. You could see if this was the wall right here, okay, facing you guys. I just had my thumb up and I got a nice good rotation, rolling that shoulder back, trying to lift my chest up to that ceiling nice and smooth. And I'm getting a nice, good big chest stretch and even a little bit through the arms. Very nice job right here. We're only going to do about 30 seconds aside, so we got maybe about 10 more seconds on this arm. Very nice job. And just lightly coming in and out of that, realizing how much deeper you can get into that stretch every time. Good stuff right there. Let's go back to that left side. Nice job here, crew. All right, so thumb up, palm against the wall, got my knees set up, legs are good base underneath me. Boom, right into that stretch. Nice and smooth for that upper body. Bingo. Very nice job here, crew. Good breathing, good focus, good balance, good awareness. You want the muscle to stretch. Everything needs to stay under control. It is not something that we are a pain that we're trying to push through to say, hey, fight, you got to do this. No, we want to be able to loosen that body up with full control, allowing that stretch to happen so we can breathe through it and let the brain and body know, hey, this is a stretch we can withstand. This is an area we can feel comfortable in. Nice job, crew. All right, so let's make our way back down to the floor, spend these last about 8 to 9 minutes or so back down here on the floor a little bit. We're going to test a couple things out. So we did that lat stretch. We were reaching high and across to really trickle down into the lats a little bit better, which was fantastic. But now let's go back into those rear delts. We just opened the shoulder across at a good 90-degree angle, just straight even with the arm. We're now going to do that residual down without grabbing the arm. So let's get into that all four position. I'm going to face you guys here so you can see what's happening with the rotation, especially with my head. This is known as threading the needle. I want you to take your right arm, lift it off the floor, and underneath, reach underneath your left arm, reaching as far as you can, letting your shoulder come down to the floor, letting that head rest. You're going to get a nice, good residual stretch in your right shoulder and possibly in that left lower back, which is going to target your opposite lat. Nice job. So right here, threading the needle, stretching out that left shoulder blade when I reach with my left arm, letting my head come all the way down. So now I'm feeling that stretch on my left side and throughout. Actually, my left lower back is here as well. So if you could feel it in the opposite, you could feel it in the same side. It depends on what is tight for you. Nice. Now that I've done this twice on each side, that's really loosening up into that lower back a little bit. And this is how you can tell that just exercise and stretch of threading the needle right here alone is a great indicator for letting you know how much some of these upper body muscle groups actually play a huge role in how your lower body and your thoracic spine mobility is concerned. So a lot of people may not think, oh, they just leave their core separated. No, your core is the intersection of the muscles between the lower body and the upper body. And both upper body and lower body can definitely affect your core. And since we're concentrating a lot on the upper body mobility today, focusing on loosening up these lats will tremendously change your thoracic spine mobility. Nice job. Let's get maybe about 1 to 2 more right here. Last one to my left. Then I'm going to do my last one to my right. Nice. I think I started with my right. I'm going to do one more to the left. I think I'm right on that. It did come across on that side. So let me finish with this last one to my left. Very nice job right here. Fantastic work. Awesome. So next thing we're going to do is we did that test earlier with the hands up and we raised above the head. We're not doing that one just yet. What we're going to do first is we're going to end up placing the hands down in front of us, but now we're going to start reaching a little bit more with the palms or hands about shoulder width apart. What I want you to do here before we go into that test is right here, just sitting the butt back with the arms straight and trying to get your head to come down to the floor. What you're going to notice is I really need to sit the butt back to allow the lats to open on up as well as the chest to let that head come down and come back. You may not be able to get all the way to the floor. You might only be able to get right here, and that's perfectly fine. Or maybe it's a little bit shorter, and then you're coming back. Maybe you need to start a little bit closer and sit back into those heels just a little bit more. Okay, so whatever you need to do to allow yourself to get a really good stretch of those lats. And also the reason why you don't want to bring the hands closer here is because we're trying to keep the shoulders within that natural range of motion, only using that hands together and overhead stretch. That's just a little bit of a test to see kind of how those shoulders and how our upper body mobility is feeling. Very nice job right here. Let's just get a couple more. Nicely done. We're almost through with this mobility session. You possibly feel maybe like one shoulder blade is maybe a little bit looser than another. There's nothing wrong with that. Just keep your awareness focused on maybe being able to stretch or lengthen that side just a little bit more. Very nice job here, crew. Good work. Good work. I'm going to do one more. That felt really good. I'm loving this stretch. Very nice job. Very nice job through the shoulders, getting that head all the way down. And then let's come on up. Very nice job. Okay. So a couple other areas that I want to focus on before we go into that upper body stretch again and that last little test. So we haven't necessarily covered biceps or triceps just yet, and that does play a role in the shoulder. So with the upper body mobility, this pretty simple one. Get your hand in front of you and start to articulate that wrist back. So you're going to end up getting a good forearm and residual bicep stretch. We're just going to alternate back and forth right here, nice and easy. Okay, as we do this, again, lengthening those forearms. It is a good thing to lengthen the forearms. It does prevent a little bit of the tennis elbow and whatnot, and some of the golfer's elbow. As long as you're able to keep those wrists nice and mobile, I would think of your wrists as kind of like the ankle joint, right? Your wrist is always grabbing, pulling, doing something. We're writing, we're typing. So because of all this quick work with the hands and wrists, the muscles in the forearm can get pretty tight. So take your time loosening them up nice and easy. And another good way, if you want to do them both at the same time, you can place your fingertips down so your wrist is going to fall in front of you. When you place the wrist down, you may need to come over the wrist a little bit. And once you get here, start to sit the butt back, and you're going to get that same residual forearm stretch all the way through. So quite a bit of these stretches, we're down in an all-four kneeling position, and we use the wall only when we were standing. So really shows that you can get a lot of upper body stretches just by simply using the ground. You don't need, it is nice every once in a while if you can hang from something and if you can do some upper body stretches without having to get all the way down on the floor. But your floor is the friend, right? We want to be comfortable being on the ground and being able to use just our body to go through these simple stretches. Very nice job right here doing that residual tricep and bicep stretch. Now, last but not least, we're going to do a little bit of the tricep. So there's two things we can do with the triceps here. Number one, you can grab at the elbow. So bend one arm, grab at the elbow, and then let's raise that elbow above our head. What's happening here is we're getting a residual stretch through the tricep and your lat. And since our lat was loosened up, it should be a little bit easier to get a nicer stretch through the tricep there. Now, if you're having a problem reaching and getting that arm across, this is where I'd want you to use the wall again. So if you're having trouble reaching to get above your head, go up to the wall, get your elbow close to it, the leg of the same side arm, make sure you have that back, and I want you to lean into it and try to press your armpit into that wall. Your face is going to get very close to the wall, as you can kind of see here. I think you guys had a pretty good angle of that. So as you can see, I'm trying to get that armpit brace into the wall, almost getting my hand to touch the middle of my back. And it would be the same as trying to reach with the arm. But if you're having trouble, again, like I said, reaching, this is a great stretch that you can utilize. Actually, I'm going to use this wall right here. There's a great stretch that you can utilize a wall for and just lean on in so you don't have to grab or pull. You can just lean right into that wall and get a nice, good residual tricep stretch. Now, a lot of the reason why people, excuse me, air went down the wrong way. A lot of the reason why people have trouble with this stretch is because their lats aren't loose enough yet. So if you can imagine, stripped, if you can imagine this muscle group being very tight and you're trying to get a good tricep stretch going, you're barely going to feel anything above the joint because everything below it is so tight. So the fact that we worked major muscle groups first and then went to the arms was very beneficial. So now that we did that residual tricep stretch, let's do that last little test again. We did this in the middle before we ended up standing up for the chest. Cross one hand over the other. Let's see how much easier it is to get your head through the arms there. Nice. That feels a lot easier for me. My goodness. Ooh, that feels good. Now, this is a tight position. To be able to bring your hands all the way up and across, it's not easy for a lot of people. So maybe you're right here, but maybe the thumbs are touching now, right? Maybe you started here, and as you got to the top earlier, maybe you were wider. And now when you're coming across, maybe your thumbs are touching a little bit, right? And that's a good thing because of the fact that you were able to lengthen these muscles before going through a little bit of a strengthening to a degree and activation. You were able to get a better range of motion. So very nice job with this today. Fantastic little test to see where the arms are. If we want to do a couple more of the pull aparts just to open everything up again, maybe a little bit of a light rotation coming down and just reaching across the body, reaching above, just test out those shoulders and move everything kind of freely right here. Get a couple of arm circles going maybe. And if you are doing these right now and you're saying to yourself, man, that feels a whole lot better, then you progressed just within this 30 minutes. So thank you so much for joining me for this 30-minute upper body mobility session. Hopefully that those shoulders, shoulder blades, and everything in your thoracic spine is feeling a whole lot better so you can enjoy significantly better posture throughout the day. Again, my name is Miguel, and we will see you right here next time for Just on Demand. Enjoy the day, crew.